Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. So on today's review, we take a look at the Mezco Ghostbusters. Today I'll be reviewing these figures in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, are they essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if these figures are a pass or a purchase. So I've been waiting to add these to my collection ever since they were first announced. Originally, I had passed on the Blitzway 1/6 Ghostbusters. I decided to wait for Soldier Story to release their versions. I felt that their versions of Ghostbusters were better. However, 2 years later, still no release from Soldier Story. I'm assuming at this point that's not going to happen. So let's see if this is the next best thing. So for accessories, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and focus on each accessory at a time. So the first accessory that we're going to take a look at will be the Proton Pack, and it's done very well. It has light up features, which I'll show a little bit later in the functionality department. So one of my concerns are these straps. Originally, when I took it out the package, I would have preferred if they were made out of fabric. However, they are made out of a plastic type of material, and already on this one, there is a crease, and I can see this separating sometime soon. But aside from that, the Proton Pack has a wire that's flexible. It is a pretty sturdy wire. I don't think you have to worry about that. So this is done just very well. Very reminiscent of the 1980s movie. And I can't tell if anything is missing from this. And of course, you receive 4 Proton Packs. So with the Proton Packs, and I guess I'll keep the theme of showing the accessories that come with each of the figures. So you receive 4 plasma streams, and I have to say that this thing is hideous. The blue looks like chewed up and stretched out bubblegum, and the plastic stream is I'm not even sure what to call this color. It looks like rusty water. You ever been doing construction and sometimes dirt gets in the pipes and you run the water and that brown murky water comes out? This is what this looks like. It's not at all how I remember it. I started to take a look at the movie prior to reviewing this, but I didn't have the time to do so. I remember the plasma stream being more colorful, maybe some purples, some reds, some yellows. And even if this is accurate, it is so ugly. So moving on to the next accessory, you receive 4 walkie-talkies. They are done well. Not much to look at. Just some silver paint. You receive 8 hands in total. So all of the hands are the same. Black gloves. A combination of reaching and weapon holding hands. So nothing spectacular. You receive a stand for Slimer. You receive 4 stands for each Ghostbuster. And you receive alternate head sculpts for each figure. So each alternate head sculpt has an open mouth. I'm not a fan of it. It's a very awkward option to choose. I do rather have the alternate head sculpt not to have one at all. And I'd rather have one that has difference in expression than something that's very similar. So the teeth look good, the mouth looks good, just not happy with the expression that they chose. And that theme sort of continues, raises a bit more muted, not as exaggerated, but still the open mouth. And it continues with Winston. One thing that I like with this figure, with Winston in particular, is the brown is not shiny. I mentioned this in one of my previous reviews. Sometimes with black action figures, the plastic comes off or skin color is very shiny. That is not the case with Winston. And last but not least, Peter. And that theme continues throughout with the open mouth. So these are my least favorite head sculpts, and I'll be leaving the sculpts that actually come on the figures. I think those are much better than the expression type head sculpts. So I don't remember the name of all of the devices. I think at some point they had an EK meter or something along the lines. I am not saying that this is what it is. However, this accessory is done very well. It is very small. However, the buttons are painted. The buttons are painted in variations of colors, red, yellow, and appears to be blue. So it definitely took time to get that done. And the paint work is, I'm going to say it's exceptional simply because of the fact of how small the buttons are. I'm pretty sure it took great effort to paint those. We receive a pair of goggles. If I'm not mistaken, Ray wore these in the movie. And it also has fine details, some silver paint on the edges. Again, pretty sure that took some time to do. No idea what this device is called, but we have it. I think it had something to do with smell in the movie. So these small accessories are done very well. And we have the ghost catcher. Don't remember what it's called. It's attached to the spring type material, rather. It's not a spring. And it has the step-in part. You can actually see it elevated here. So I am very impressed with these accessories. Not sure how I nearly forgot Slimer. So you also get a Slimer, and this is done very well. The green translucent paint is fantastic. The teeth, the gums, and the eyes sitting to the side. So this looks very good. So you receive a lot in terms of accessories. Nearly all of the gadgets that I recall in the movie, you receive alternate head sculpts. You actually get a Slimer. And for all 4 figures, a lot of the accessories you're going to times by 4. So I think they did a hell of a job with what they packed inside. The only thing that I would say is missing, and it's been a while since I've watched Ghostbusters, so perhaps there are several things that are missing. But the one thing that comes across to me would have been just some sort of can of slime. I think that would have been just a fantastic touch to have come along with these. So in terms of accessories, I'm going to give the Ghostbusters a 9 out of 10. So for articulation, all 4 figures are on the same body, something I'm not particularly happy with, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. So the head is able to look up only that far. And the reason that it's only able to look up that far is that you have a long neck. So the peg is here, but however, the head and neck cover the peg, reducing or limiting movement. So upward mobility is limited to that. Downward, he can look nearly all the way down. You do get phenomenal rotation. The head pivots very well and is able to rotate a full 360. So the shoulder is able to extend about this much up. You may be able to push it more, but due to the fabric stretching right here, this is where I'm stopping. You're able to rotate it up about that far. Again, because of the fabric stretching, I'm going to stop, and you're able to rotate it backwards about that much. So you do have an upper, no, you do not have an upper bicep swivel. Wait a minute. So as I'm going through this, I think this is the same body that Joker and Doctor Strange used. I'm pretty sure it is. I am not positive. So you get single jointed elbows bending in that much. Not that a Ghostbuster has to be super articulated, but you would think at this point with the action figures, we would have double jointed elbows. So the wrists rotate. It really doesn't hinge up and down nor sideways. There's a ball peg which is able to rotate, and that motion allows you to think that it hinges. I'm okay with that. So moving on, if I remember this body, you barely get any back crunch, any lower using just the upper torso. Using both combined, the figure is able to move back that much, about that much forward. You do get good rotation and a decent amount of pivot. You do get rotation at the waist. The legs are able to kick up about this far, Maybe you're able to get it more, but due to the fabric, it's restricted. It moves back barely any. You do get upper rotation, do get rotation at the boot. The boot is able to hinge up that much, not bad at all. Down that much, also not bad. And you do get a decent amount of pivot. The knees are double jointed, bending in that good. That is good. And the legs stretch about that much. And here I'm pushing the fabric to the limits. So I'm a bit disappointed that Mezco chose to use this older body. There were a lot of restrictions with Doctor Strange as far as posability. That's apparent with these figures. However, Ghostbusters are no Doctor Strange. So for overall articulation, I'm going to give the Ghostbusters a 7 out of 10. So for design, Mezco truly hit their mark. These figures look outstanding. This is where soft goods truly looks at best. The stitch work throughout is so clean. None of the overlay, none of the sloppy stitching. You can look through the sides, the front, the back. This thing is just amazing, from the shoulder pads to the belts to even the wires. The boots even look phenomenal. And the boots are angled at the bottom, giving that realism. Mezco even went the extra mile and painted certain sections on the boots. The sticker is clean, or the Ghostbusters sign, I believe is a sticker. And just look at the name tags. Like, these figures scream 1980 Ghostbusters. If there is any weak part, it's the head sculpts. They're not exact. They're close to each of the movie figures, but they don't completely hit the mark in that area. And let me just do a close-up of each character so that you can see. And don't think I'm saying that they don't look good. I do think that they look good. I think certain characters look better than others. I think Peter head sculpt is perhaps off the most. And what I compared this to was the Diamond Select Ghostbuster figures. I really feel they truly captured the likeness of the actors. So for design, and just to let you know that there is a black shirt underneath this, I am not sure if they are clothed all the way down. I will not be taking the suits off to find out. Okay, so for design, I will be giving these Ghostbusters a 10 out of 10. So are the Ghostbusters essential to your collection? If you would have asked me this a few months ago, my answer would have been a clear and defining no. However, that has changed. We currently have Friday the 13th figures, Nightmare on Elm Street, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, It. And these are all figures from the Mezco lineup. So now adding Ghostbusters to that, sort of like Monster Hunters, even though I know they're Ghostbusters, to me, it just elevates the desire to have them in my collection. It also brings back this 80s dose of nostalgia. And I'm actually smiling as I'm doing the review. And I don't always smile as I'm doing reviews. Editing, doing reshoots, sometimes it can be cumbersome, but I'm truly having fun with this. So as far as being essential to your action figure collection, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10. Before people say, hey, wait a minute, we have other offerings. Yes, we do. We have Diamond Select. I want to say we even have NECA Ghostbuster figures. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But we do not have 6-inch Ghostbuster figures that are like this. These have set the bar. So for functionality, let's just start at the head for a moment. The head pops on and off very easily. There's a very long ball peg. So they made that simple enough. Now, starting with the goggles, as we are on the head itself. It's a tight fit. Okay, so the goggles fit snug. My concern with the goggles is that this is it feels like plastic or maybe rubber. And I'm just a little nervous about this stretching and losing its shape, or the straps breaking apart over time. This would have been much better if this was done with some sort of elastic material. I also worry that it's so snug, are you going to start to remove paint from the hair and our face? Now, none of those things have happened as of yet. I'm just stating that it's something that may happen over time. So working my way down, the zipper is fully functional, appearing to work all the way here. I will not be taking it that far down, as I have no intentions on removing this belt. I'm not even sure if that is possible. So continuing down or around the belt, there's a holster for the walkie-talkie, and the walkie-talkie is able to fit inside very snug and is able to stay in place even upside down. So one of the hands came off. I put on the weapon or accessories holding hand, and unfortunately it's the same size hand for all of the accessories. So let's see how this works. So now that the hand is attached, let's try a few accessories. We might as well start with the walkie-talkie. So he holds the walkie-talkie pretty snug. I have not slid it all the way in. Well, actually, I have now. That actually fits very well, and it's tightly in place. So now let's go with what I've been calling the EKG meter. So this fits very loose, and this is the issue that I have with hands that are meant to fit all accessories or weapons. So it's in here, but it's not fitting as secure as I would like it to. Another accessory we receive, and I am not sure if this is how it works, but it appears that it can go onto his hand, and that fits. Okay, it's a bit loose, but he's able to hold it. I can live with that. So another accessory we receive is the ghost trap. Unfortunately, with the ghost trap, the doors do not open, nor is the pedal up here functional. It would have been so cool if it was. And even if it wasn't, I would have settled for the trap doors being able to open. So I do like this spring here that you can kind of close and retract it. That's pretty cool. I remember them kicking this out in the movie underneath the ghosts as they were capturing them. So I like this accessory. Now, again, with what I think is the EKG meter, very happy that the antenna extend and close down like so. So now moving on to the proton pack. So the proton pack has a light up feature. Before we get to the light up feature, I just want to show you how to install the batteries. So you simply remove this screw here. Speaking of removing screws, NECA, it is time that you incorporate a screwdriver with your action figures that have light up features. Fortunately, I collect Hot Toys, and Hot Toys does provide screwdrivers for their die-cast figures. If not, I would have not had a screwdriver small enough to fit in the hole. So once you remove the screw, I had a very hard time removing the battery cover. What I found that works best for me is once I remove the battery cover, I simply tilted the proton pack this way, and I gently shook it and used the screwdriver to pry this piece out, and eventually it fell out. So it takes 3 batteries. Mezco provides 12 batteries in total. So you have enough batteries for your light up feature. So before I put the proton pack on, let me cut off some of the lights and show you the light up feature. And you simply push this button right here. Very easy access. Sorry, not this one. This one. Okay. Okay, so I had the wrong proton pack in my possession. This is the correct one. So simply push this button here and you have a light up feature. So it looks good. So now with the light up feature, the light actually travels through this wire and you can see it here. So now let's attach the proton stream, and I very much doubt that we're going to see light shine from this. So let me just find the right end to connect it to, which is here. All right, so it actually goes up top. Okay, so I finally have it connected. And as you can see, there is no light shining through this, none whatsoever. And this has to be the most disappointing accessory that comes with this. And you can see the light is on. All right, so I turned the lights back on. So I'm going to attach the backpack. Here is a slip to where you can open. Not sure if it's necessary. I'm going to loosen it anyway. Let's start by putting on one of the straps. Nope, that is not going to work. So you can already tell that the best way is perhaps to put both arms behind the figure like so, and use the straps to go around each arm. And slowly work its way up. And man, I don't like how this feels. So I'm going to have to come off camera for this. All right, so coming back to camera, as you can see, I left the arms behind. I was able to put the straps of the pack over and slowly work their way up. And I got to tell you, this does not feel safe. I wish they would have come up with a different design for these straps. Oh, this makes me nervous. So okay, so here he is with the straps in place. I feel like I don't even want to move the arms. So this one fits a little bit better. All right, I'm going to stop there. That's just making me a tad bit nervous. So now that I have the proton pack attached, let me see if I can actually put the weapon in his hand. So I was able to get the weapon in his hand. Fits pretty good here, and you can get it to rest in this hand if you choose to, or you can use one of the more relaxed hands. So I'm not particularly sure how this piece goes. I highly doubt that it goes behind the head. My assumption is that it's supposed to fit across the chest. However, being that my proton pack is sitting so high, originally I thought I had it backwards, but it does not appear to be backwards. It is backwards. All right, so I have the proton pack sitting backwards. This is why it looks this way. So this part is actually supposed to wrap around his stomach. It takes some time, but we get there. So just talking about overall functionality, the light up feature is cool. However, there are only a few areas that do light up. And what's so unrewarding about that is the proton stream. The light doesn't even reach the beginning of it. Sort of remind me of the dark side figure. However, light does reach somewhere within his eyes, and here it doesn't reach at all. So that's very disappointing. Also, I'm wary of the choice to use this plastic or rubber piece. It felt very scary. Now, it could be because I have the pack on wrong. And before I give a score, I'm going to make sure that I remove the pack and put it on the correct way to see if I was having the same challenges. So then you do have some cool features such as the zipper, the place to hold the walkie-talkie. These are all cool features. Okay, I'm back. And you can see this time I have the proton pack on the right way, and this was a much easier fit. I did not nearly feel as scared putting it on. It fits pretty well, so I'm happy with that. Still not happy with the choice that was used for the straps. So I made a decision to get this hand to work. I simply put it over the wire and then just slid the hand up, and then I plan to connect the hand and the peg like so. I think it's just much easier to do it that way. So ending functionality, because it's been a while since we've been here, I really love the design of the boots. However, it's not the easiest for him to stand, being that there's an arch in the boot. However, you can get them to stand. And last but not least, I do like this wire here. So for overall functionality, I was torn between a 6 and 7. However, there are some cool features, so I'll go with the higher of the two, and I'm going to give this a 7 for functionality. So now for pricing, the Ghostbusters come in at $300, and that's before shipping or tax. I was able to score my lot for $305, shipping included. So now for that price point, is it worth it? First, let's talk about what it comes with. So it comes with a few interchangeable hands for each figure. It comes with 4 proton packs, 4 beams, 4 walkie-talkies, and then a number of individual accessories. Let's consider the average Mezco figure costs $80. So if you were to times that 80 by the 4 of these figures, that will bring you to $320. Let's look at it another way. So far, all of the figures that Mezco has introduced that has a light up feature cost at least $100. These figures have light up features. So you times that $100 by 4 and you're at $400. Also, we get a Slimer. You also get 4. Why did I even mention this, being that I don't care about it, but it does come in. You also get 4 stands. So do I think it's worth it? Hell yeah, it's worth it. And for price, I'm going to give the Ghostbusters a 10 out of 10. And that goes without saying that this is an absolute purchase. I didn't know that I would want these figures as much until I got them in hand. There are some limitations, but they are a gem overall. The costumes nearly alone is enough to warrant the price. The accessories just take it to another level. The head sculpts aren't the best, but you can look at each one and recognize the character that it's supposed to portray. So the only thing at this point that I would be looking for is an Ecto 1. Mezco, please, let's make it happen. Also, another limitation is that each figure is using the same body. As I start to play with them, I was able to get over that. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you stay tuned into a very long review, a very long in detailed review. So thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop, and I hope to see you the next review. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot a few things. So that gives the Ghostbusters an overall Cliff score of 53 out of 60.